After almost 15 seconds, there's the other bus going the other way. By the way, let me start already. Everything's already backed up and on YouTube, which I hadn't finished before, but I have finished now. There was that criminal with the MAGA hat over there to the other side, masking on something on the phone. After we changed the hat, I think it's the same criminal. It's so precious. Again, I don't know if it is that guy, but based on a Porsche using the phone, that's exactly what he was doing, or the one that was there was doing. Right before the bus took just skipped everything. You see the type of rain? It was raining just as much. It stopped. You keep hitting and stopping. As this rain, the bus decided to just skip everybody climbing up the other street into Gramado, down Silvano Gutierrez. Everyone. All I see is a criminal standing there, typing something on the phone. As soon as all of a sudden the criminal goes inside and he got some song playing on. And I was like, that's weird, but that's okay. I was trying to find the other phone to charge. It is charging. Okay, you disconnect and disconnected the phone. So, leaves and then it goes inside, and I noticed that, but I noticed that, I should pick up my phone. When I look up, I don't see the criminal. I noticed the song first, and then when I look up, I don't see the criminal anymore. Don't watch much, I wait a couple seconds, and I realize, okay, some point to wait in, but I see where the bus is, if anything. I have to go, they do the thing on the phone to lock up the access to the app, so I have to delete everything and open up again, which take a grand total of 15 to 16 seconds at stop. So 16 seconds plus, let's say, 20 to 30 seconds after the song starts. But keep in mind, the bus was 5 minutes away, and we see where it was. And we were filming at that time, right? Because when I started looking up for the thing, we were filming the whole time, in fact. We never stopped. And exactly at that point, I look up, and I look into the phone, and by then, screen recorded, the bus is already by Vivaldi. Should you not? The bus is by Vivaldi, by Rafaim, right? And I tell you, that bus skipped everybody. It skipped everybody on the traffic stop going up. It skipped everybody at Gramado. It skipped everybody here in the way back. In a day where rain was like this, or like it was before, the bus, again, decided to just skip absolutely everybody. Elderly, children, they don't know. It didn't even went there. It just went straight through the highway, because that's the only way to get there in the time span they had without passing here. Because again, we were filming here the entire time. We just stopped on the one small fraction for which I had to look up where the phone was, because again, I don't have one phone, right? I had to document that. And that's why this thing is charging. Since then, I already uploaded. You see in the screen recorder where the bus was. We can look there now. It was immediately. Time span between me stopping the video, which had been continuous since I left Johnson's place. No, not since that. Since I saw the bus was 5 minutes away. Since then, have been continuous. Even inside the video, it's 4 minutes already on this one. I interrupted the previous one, so probably 6, but it always delays a little bit. And then by then, the bus was all the way through. It had passed the overpass, everything through all the stops in the way, and it's a rainy day. You cannot just blast your way through life in that type of rain. But as I was saying, at this time, you have the thing happening there, so the bus decides to abandon everybody else going that way in a rainy day. I'm going to check on the app if there's a notification that or anything. At the same time, as they start partying here, with the criminal that was there typing on the phone the entire time disappearing. Right? And with that, you have me reversing to what I said in the previous video, which is already online in a public video on YouTube, where everybody would rather take the hit, so long as I get hurt. So let's imagine that anyone who happens to live all the way around and is in a bus stop waiting for the bus that is 5 minutes away, right? on the other one, or here in Silvano Gutierrez, the entire way, or in the other one the entire way, because even the other one doesn't pass through the other stream, only this one. What? No, let me think. I don't know if it passes, but even then, the buses are alternated, so it means you're waiting, leaving everybody behind on this range because you find it funny. What better way to describe that than this? What are they going to say instead? They have the consent of everybody who could possibly be on a bus stop? Okay, let them show that to you. Show that to the public. You know? So, the point that I said today early morning was the bus company, the bus monopoly in the city, had a bunch of people that would go along, that they would do things like this. And there would be people going along with them quite literally, taking advantage of them for the sheer purpose because they find it funny and because it hurts me. So, in a day where the rain is like this rain, and I'm trying. I was here the entire time. I didn't go wet. I didn't have to walk on the rain to get to the bus stop. We're going to have to walk back home now because of the rain. Or because the bus decided not to. Perhaps it was some elderly person. Perhaps it was some normal person. What I'm saying is there's no way to know. And they unilaterally decided that they'll be okay with that. Now, they're right to be deciding that? No. Are they correct in their assumption? I don't know. Maybe they can prove to you that they are correct in their assumption, that every single possible person that could take a bus stop would be okay with not waiting half an hour in this rain. You know that some of those bus stops don't have any protection at all. I'm protected here. Some of those are like that. Let's see how the seats look. That's what the guys who celebrated in front, by the way. Pretty dry, huh? So most people, elderly, children, whatever, they'll be in stops like this. If that much, because a couple of them don't even exist. So that bus monopoly had a driver who unilaterally decided that because it'd be so cool to hurt me with a walk around them here in this very actually dry place, to bypass everyone, go through the highway and say, fuck you, because what are you going to do about it? Walk? And there's no supervisor body. Technically, the app is run by the supervisor body. They leave everybody's money. And I like that. And that's the point. Maybe they would be okay with that. Maybe I'm crazy to think that you and your elderly mother will be upset for the fact that she had to wait for 1 hour to get her bus downtown. It's the only bus, by the way, the only line that goes. Because they decided to hurt someone else for no reason. Maybe she'll be cool with that. Maybe she'll be happy. Maybe she'll be dancing on the rain right now. And if that's the case, as I told you before, just pick up that, talk to the reporters. Pick up that, let that public know. Because when you go to most places and you have people that will be genuinely passionate about having people that they know it's a child or a person with a baby, they don't know if it is an elderly person, they just know that they had a bus that could go there and they decided to unilaterally skip the stop. That's the only thing we know. All the stops, not just one, the one over there, the one at Gramado, and the one from the entire Silvano Gutierrez. And the people in front of me started celebrating at that point. Not before, not even now, I'm not hearing anything. Just at that point. That will be Silvano Gutierrez 139 that I mentioned before as well. Naturally prove the things that I say, right? Under normal circumstances, a lawyer would say, but a normal person would say, you could just not. But instead, for the two things that I said that are more out there as far as accusations go, they just managed to establish a couple of them, at least with a likelihood to be the case. And since all those things are proven already before in video anyways, nothing started on my head. It didn't come up one day and say, hey, look, Silvano Gutierrez 139. All that came from solid basis and proven. In this case, for instance, I did come from them trying to interact with me in a bus stop. Even going to the point of saying, no, I would not leave. I said, no, I will leave. And I began saying, whoa, I went. That was recorded in video. So as I said, you're not going to be convinced by this. But this helps because it happened on the same day as their thing happened. So, it was from that place, by the way, you think. Not hypothetically that place. It was literally that place. The guy was on top of the second floor, which means he clearly had access to it. And then he crossed the street to talk to me here. Because he talked something that to me, and I just had to move my things to a bus stop. Not because I had to. That was a public street. I can stay there if I want to for a minute or two, and that's what I spent. No, it's no more than that. I didn't sit on the ground, did anything. I was just picking up my things and getting ready to move because another bus company, another bus company driver decided to, in this case, not stop back there for me, which technically is not the obligation to do, but you see more than a few of them doing all the time. You know what? I almost want them to be interfering with it. Do like this. They're throwing away fire. They're throwing the torture drugs in here. And it's coming with the smell of smoke. But the problem is, because of the rain, it's grinding down most things. So even if it's coming here, it's not nearly as much as it could. And it's coming from here. There'll be a BWQ 9B or 9B88. Recorded, as we know now on both devices, so no longer fucking around. And since that smoke was smell of carbon dioxide. Yep. BWQ 9B, whatever I said earlier. H, I think. No, the number 8. So what is worth? Is it guaranteed that? No, it could be someone else at the same time. But for what it's worth, I mean it for real. It could just be that's something that they actively do. They try to aim at those moments. So for what it's worth, the advice on that one. It used to be some type of bunkhouse, by the way, so it's hardly the residence, probably even a couple families, probably many. But for what it's worth, just showcasing that very clearly for the things that I mentioned there that feel pretty out there as part of his work. You already got to see that one here. Okay? I actually thought I was listening to songs that after I realized that it's the bus, they're gonna do something like the other day. It was not much different than that. It was a rainy day. I had flipped out and I was here and I was documenting that they were accessing that's how they were accessing my phone. And they started just yelling to each other responses to things that I would be saying here while listening to music, blasting. And I thought that today the thing was to recreate that. And then the noise kind of died down. So, as I said, with the torture things, which I don't feel that much anymore, my entire body feels kind of diminished as well, because what they start doing was to release those things in the air. And then when they saw that their frag functions just as well as any other frag they ever did to me, they would put other things with them. So apart from the torture drugs, they release sedatives, they release exhaustion drugs, they're releasing other things. See? Different shit. The idea, presumably, I can only imagine, is to make it look like I'm talking some crap to settle down in fear of the torture, instead of the actual chemicals they are throwing through the air on me. You have a plate to be enough, the criminal from inside the bus and into their house, I think. That's another one. And the smell, distinctively smell of fuel, like carbon monoxide, consistent with the truck that, which means either that or at least at the same time. Either way. But on this, back to the bus thing, just to finish. Bus thing, skip all stops, the exact time as I'm trying to all the stops with this type of rain. Plain and simple. No halfways about it. And at that point in particular, not before, not after, exactly in the same minute, probably when it was clear to it, they passed away through another direction. They went up there, disappeared, and went to celebrate some song. I mentioned earlier today, those crimes affect a bunch of other people other than me. I mentioned yesterday that it was funny to see one of the criminals that almost got showered by water. So there's that. It was that, remember? I even give myself a step back, but it was far away. He actually took water. As for So that's what you see. As I said, much to do now. Now we're gonna upload this, finish uploading the other one. As I said, everything that was in Gelson's place is up. Now just the crimes are happening here. We're gonna play also something else from one to the other. Make sure it's there. Forgetting something? No, I think it's pretty much there. There you go. That's what I said. That's literally what I just said about the torture drugs being released there. Bunch of things together. No, don't be confused. Those are facts. If this is for the intention, if this is to make it look like I'm complying instead of that, might be just for my head. It's what I've been dealing with this for a lot of time, so maybe not everything's 100%. But what I'm telling you is definitely the symptoms are facts. The yawning, the sensation I felt before, which is consistent with what I said, and the torture pain, which is causing slightly a spike on torture pain right now. I don't feel so much in my nose, but I feel the pain starting. If that's the case, that's alright. And it's tied up directly to. It wasn't happening before, it's happening now. There's also the rain, right? So, again, for a crime, we're gonna have once again the bus company just straight out, unilaterally, deciding, hey, we think it's gonna be funny to hurt him that way, and just completely skipping all the street going up, all o Gramado, this is the one that comes here, all Silvano Gutierrez, all through here, and I presume stayed straight in the highway. Again, in a rainy day like this, where it could be anyone there. Again, child, mother's baby, elderly, anyone else. Specifically the people who struggle to walk to another stop. For instance, they could theoretically walk to Gramado, like there we have the 200, the 245, but I have difficulty walking. Let's see who else I mentioned would have difficulty walking in a rainy day when it can get slippery, right, for this wonderful street, infrastructure, and everything else. Just pointing that to you. At the end of the day, for something that is the after space with public money, that stops to maintain with public money, the supervising body for this one monopoly is supposed to being paid with public money as well. I don't know why they supervise, because everything's done by the because everything that's paid for is paid with public money anyways. They're basically supervising themselves. And the company that finds it fine is just skips up. And that's the time when they start to celebrate. And then stop. As you do. They celebrate for a couple minutes with music, and then for random reasons, they just completely for unrelated reasons stop. Like now. And before as well. You stopped right after, then it started again, and they said it started again. So, there you go.